Hi, Sanjukta.
Hi,
Hi.
Reena.
So, my friend Sanjukta Mukherjee, she is a board certified behavior analyst and she works with adolescents and young adults in New Jersey. Is that right, Sanjukta?
Right now, Houston,
Houston. Oh, now she's in
Texas.
Houston. Okay, in
Yes.
Texas. And it's been a long journey with Sanjukta. We've been on and off, not like really there. And I remember meeting her son Adi when he was 3 years old, 3.5 years
Yes.
old, and
Three. Yeah, I think three. Yeah.
3 years old. And now Adi is 18 years old. And from being a parent and her journey of becoming a BCBA and a special education teacher. So let's hear it from her. Okay, so Sanjukta, how was it in the initial days, when you got the diagnosis? And so just tell me a brief about, you know, the beginning, the very beginning, and how was it for you?
Yes. Of course, I think with his diagnosis, that was the first time I heard of something like autism existed. That was the first time I heard the name autism. So it was a journey that was completely unknown as to what to expect. Also, 15 years back, somehow the world was so different from, like, there was not so much technology, there was not so much what we are so used to and take for granted right now. So it was a complete journey of discovery and learning, a lot of learning for me in order to help him. And I remember going to you, that was our summer break that we were in India, and you had given me some notes or something of yours on verbal behavior. That was my first basic introduction to ABA. And a lot of, what you had told me at that point in time, I don't know if you would recall, but to me, those were the pearls of, I was grasping onto every bit of information that I could get in order to help. So there were a lot of challenging behaviors at that point in time, lot of tantrums, lot of, he never was extremely aggressive, but if he didn't have his way, there would be a meltdown. That would be in the middle of the street. Of course, the biggest challenge was for him to communicate, for him to say something, because he didn't have any words at that point in time. So there were a whole bunch of also eating issues. He would eat only a few textures, really mashed up, like baby food kind of thing. If there was a little chunk in his food, he would gag, throw up. So, and a lot of hyperactivity. There was no way I could keep this child seated or, for even um, eating something I used to run after, or he would, have odd patterns of eating in terms of, sitting somewhere and eating, but that would not be the dining table. It was with just odd places that I remember I would be feeding. So, yeah, you know, now when I look back, yes, it's been a long journey and
How
he's
was it?
done wonderfully well.
How was it at that time? When he had so many of those behavior issues, or he was not able to sit, not able to eat. How was it that you coped? And your family coped. What helped you the most at that time?
So, of course, it was a difficult stage. Like emotionally, you feel drained. You feel, okay, I can't do this anymore. Physically, too, you feel very overwhelmed by everything that's going on. But one thing I knew was that I, if something didn't work with my natural flow of life, I needed to make that better. I was not willing or very much in favor of changing everything at our end in order to accommodate. So let's say we as a family, we like to travel. We as a family, we love to eat outside. Like, we go outside, have some good time. We, for I think some 5 6 years initially, we never went out, like restaurant food, it would be takeout. We would be, ordering home. But I knew this. So by then you feel like, okay, I can't take this anymore. Initially, you try to do that. You try to accommodate. You try to adjust on your end. And then you realize that's not a very good idea. And then that's when this starts. So I've had people yelling at me from their house windows because I was trying to make him do something. He was flopped in the middle of the road. He's screaming, kicking, shouting. And they've said, shut that kid up, or, take him home or something. And you very quickly start developing a thick skin. Like, I couldn't care less about what you're screaming from your window. Go ahead. I need to take care of my son. Or we've, I mean, imagine plane journeys to India was to be like 22 hours, 23 hours with layovers in places where, it's just all new. There was this crazy, long, huge, unexpected things happening. And then I've had people telling me, again, same thing, giving parental advice, how to do, what not to do with the child. And you're just like, yeah, okay, fine. You say what you have to say. I'll have to do what I have to do. So
So,
yeah, it's
so no, so how much time did it take you? Because the initial level, it's not easy to listen to all of this. It really, really hurts you, and somewhere it feels as if I am responsible for this. Like at a personal level as a mother. So how did you work through that?
very frankly, I think it took me a while. It took a good number of years. Also, the thing is that the initial progress is so incremental, like little progress that it's going in, perhaps it's happening, but you're not able to see the results right then and there. So it's not like after such extended therapy, immediately you see suddenly he's doing this and that and the other. It wasn't. Even if we were putting one behavior down, something else would come up. Again, we intervene on that, some other thing would come up. So there was a constant struggle of, okay, how? I think what happened is around the time he was about 10, 11 is also the time I started working. I started going out. So before that, it used to be a lot of time spent with other parents with the parent support groups, with the meetings, things like that. The moment you start, interacting with other families, you share your stories, you have somebody who's walking that path with you. I think that emotional bonding that you have and that support system is immense. And I cannot stress, like I cannot stress enough that you must have that support, somebody around that's living that path. You have wonderful families. We have extremely supportive families. But again, what you take away from another mother or another parent in that same journey, that's just something else.
Mm.
So that helps a lot. And also then the moment I started working more and more with other kids, you start then counting your own blessings. You see that, okay, my child can do this. Okay, he can't do that. Can I help him get there? Oh, he didn't have a trouble doing that. Look, this one has. Can I help him now become, can what I did with my son, can I do with my student? So then that became a very organic give and take for me. It was like always seeing, recognizing that, yeah, Adi can do this, or, or he can't, but how can we get there? So it took a while. It took a good number of years to come to that even. And right now, even my first job, I think I was with very high functioning,
No, so
very verbal,
if I go back there, how many years did it take you around to kind of reach there?
7, 8 years.
Mm. So if
7, 8 years.
so if there is a parent who's in that stage right now, anything that you would want to tell them that you feel you should have listened to.
No, for number one thing is hang in there. Just, I know it's hard. I know you feel like crying at the end of the day. Two things: do cry, let it out. It's
Yeah.
okay to cry in the shower, and it's okay to have somebody who you can just go and say, okay, I'm just going to vent. I'm going to rant it out. I'm going to be emotional and not be judged for it. So go ahead, give yourself some self love. I think that's something I would have told myself way back, is that I was overwhelmed with
Be
my,
compassionate with yourself. Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
My younger daughter was born, and then having a baby and having Adi at that point in time, one Adi was equal to four, because he was just so hyper, and we were just starting off on this journey. So I was overwhelmed, and I think multiple times a day I would sit and cry. I would say, my God, I have no help. I don't know. Because again, this journey here has been rather alone, rather to myself. So, for everything you find something, but the initial stages, you're still kind of trying to get there, trying to find that rhythm. So till you find that rhythm, it's been a mess, a hot mess. So I would definitely say to the parents now that self love, take some time for yourself. It's okay. Take a deep breath and hang in there. And in your heart, know that whatever is happening, even though you don't see results today, it's happening. It's going to come around one day. One day, your child is going to show the results of all the hard work you're putting in now. So hang in there and be good to yourself.
That's a great one.